Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, taking a look at the Chicago Bears 7-round NFL mock draft. This is by far the most fun team to mock draft for. The amount of power they have in this 2023 NFL draft is it's insane. You're going to have so many teams calling the Bears for that number one overall pick. The Texans, the Colts, potentially the Lions, the Raiders, the Panthers, all kind of gunning for that franchise quarterback. And Ryan Poles, a fellow Rochester boy, grew up 10 minutes away from my house, has a big-time opportunity to truly build this team. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to you guys. The support you guys have shown truly means a lot. Again, we specialize in more of the evaluation of the college prospects, and the NFL fans coming in, checking out our mock drafts and telling us position and needs, telling us position fits, truly means a lot. We love talking with you guys. And again, if you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys. Let's get into this mock. And the team I'm really targeting to trade with is the Indianapolis Colts, because when you trade with the Indianapolis Colts, and they're going to be one of those teams calling for that number one overall pick, is you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a chance to get Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, who in 2022 would be the first player overall taken. And so you're getting a guy who has number one overall talent and talent ceiling at that number 4 overall pick. What we'll do is we kind of use a traditional trade value. And I want to keep it more towards this 2023 draft and kind of stockpile some picks. A little bit more fun, I guess, if you will. Well, that's for 35 and 79. They'll probably be interested in that. That might be letting them off easy. Maybe like throwing a round 2 as well next year. Let's fire that one up and let's get this draft going. The Colts take quarterback, and look at what you have. You have Jalen Carter, who I think would be the player, if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you want to fall. You really don't care if it's Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, but I do think the Bears really need help on that interior defensive line, and they don't make many Jalen Carters. In terms of interior defensive linemen who can create the most amount of havoc, Jalen Carter is that guy. He's an absolute no-brainer pick here. And again, I really do think that you're getting a guy who last year in 2022, Trayvon Walker goes number 1 overall. Jalen Carter would have been going over number 1 overall. His ability in the run game is phenomenal, but it's really rare to see the interior defensive lineman like Jalen Carter create as much pressure on the quarterback. This guy has a 17% pass rush win rate at Georgia. He uses his hands phenomenally well. His get off is insane for a guy of his weight. I really do like Jalen Carter, and there's a really good chance that he ends up being the number 1 overall prospect on my big board. At 35, this is probably where you're looking at wide receiver. You have a guy like Tank Dell, who I absolutely love, and I get he's undersized, and maybe Josh Downs would be the better pick, but Tank Dell and his movement skills are next level. Yes, he's undersized. I get that at only 160 pounds, but you check him out at the Senior Bowl. You check him out over the last 3 years at Houston. Like, nobody can cover this guy from the slot. His movement skills, his route running ability, his ability to create separation is on another level. I feel like Justin Fields needs a guy like that who's going to get open, who's going to work the middle of the field, and also has burners to kind of hit the big play too. Justin Fields throws a beautiful deep ball, and getting a guy like Tank Dell who can kind of bring it all for the Chicago Bears seems to be a no-brainer. This is a really, really weak wide receiver room, and adding Tank Dell is just adding a lot of juice to this offense. I feel like you can't pass him up there, even though Jalen Hyatt wouldn't be necessarily a horrible pick either. At pick 54, there's a lot of guys that you really like. Felix Anudike-Uzomah, if you take Jalen Carter and Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who's probably going to be a top 30 guy on my big board as well, I think you get that defensive line right immediately. I do want to take a look and see if Darnell Washington's available. He's not. Darnell Washington goes 51. Chicago Bear fans, if you guys are looking for a tight end to kind of add to Cole Kmet, I think Darnell Washington is the dude. The Bears are a team that want to run the football, especially with Justin Fields' ability to use his feet. Darnell Washington, 6'7", 275 pounds. Dane Brugler, who specializes in the NFL draft, thinks that he could potentially be a tackle at the next level. I was kind of, when he was in this high school recruiting, I wanted him to go and be an offensive tackle. He's very good in the red zone, not necessarily the biggest receiving threat, although he did catch for 400 yards at Georgia. I think he'd be a really nice addition, but you're picking at 54. He's not available. I think you got to go Felix Anudike-Uzomah. The defensive line needs a lot of work. If you get Jalen Carter and Felix Anudike-Uzomah, that is a really, really good ground framework for a very good defensive line. And again, that's where you want to start building your defense. Good defenses have the ability to create pressure, only rushing 4. Those guys will be able to do it. At pick 54, and some more defensive linemen that I really like. Jalin Hyatt he's enticing at that spot. I think Matthew Bergeron. Matthew Bergeron. I want to check this offensive tackle group before we move on. Matthew Bergeron, DeJuan Jones, maybe check the linebacker. I feel like linebacker is also a position of need as well. Let's check who we got here. Dan Henley. If Jack Campbell's available at 54, I would have liked it a lot more. Or we're not at pick 54. We're at pick 64, excuse me. I want to go offensive tackle. I want to continue to build around Justin Fields. Matthew Bergeron had a phenomenal senior day. I really like him, but I'm going to go with DeJuan Jones. He's also a down at the Senior Bowl, 6'8", 370 pounds. And I get it. You question the movement skills and the ability to pass protect. He has 36-inch arms as well, but he's also a very good athlete. If you remember Daniel Faalele last year from Minnesota, similar size. DeJuan Jones is a much better athlete than Daniel Faalele. Let's go get him. And again, he's a guy that kind of similar to Tevin Jenkins. You're going to give him a shot at tackle. If he doesn't work out at tackle, which Tevin Jenkins did not, you can kick him inside, and I think he can be very, very good as a guard as well. Let's go get DeJuan Jones, who's just an absolute alien. When he broke the record for wingspan out of the Senior Bowl. Very, very impressive dude. This is where I do think you could take a look at running backs. Because again, David Montgomery, I don't know if you want to go out and pay him. And this running back class is really good. I think it's a little early to take running back. Roschon Johnson's a guy that maybe we're taking a look at pick 4. Let's take maybe another look at that wide receiver room. I think there's a lot of different things you could do here. Cedric Tillman's a guy I do like A.T. Perry. I don't know if I'm going to go linebacker. I think this is a Chicago Bears team that this is where you want to target a linebacker. I'm not necessarily looking for a linebacker round 1, round 2, but at pick 79, there's probably some really good linebackers available. Noah Sewell, I think he's probably the no-brainer pick here. Noah Sewell, a lot of you Chicago Bears fans probably recognize the name. Obviously, the little brother of Penei Sewell. He's a guy that was supposed to go in the top 20 heading into 2022. Didn't have the best film, and the question mark you have with Noah Sewell is, can he play in space? He's a bruiser, 6'2", 250 pounds. The Chicago Bears want to create more negative plays, especially in the pass rush. Noah Sewell is probably the best blitzing linebacker in this class, especially when you send him in the A-gap. Takes on running backs extremely well. I really do like that pick. And Andrew Voorhees, staring me right in the face at 101, is also a very enticing pick as well. He's a guy that he's very explosive. And if you want to run the ball at a high level, Andrew Voorhees is a guy that you want to build around. You already addressed it with DeJuan Jones. This is probably just the best player available pick. Andrew Voorhees is a phenomenal player that I think is just going to make this offensive line even better. We're going to go and get him. It might not necessarily be a position in need with how good Tevin Jenkins has been playing, but Andrew Voorhees is a phenomenal player. He's also played a little tackle, so if he can play tackle too, maybe you're taking a look at him there. This is where I'm probably looking at running back. Tyjae Spears had a phenomenal Senior Bowl. Eric Gray, Deuce Vaughn. These are 3 guys who are phenomenal out of the backfield. Kenny McIntosh, you probably could add to that list. The guy I'm going with, though, is Eric Gray. He's a little undersized, 5'9", 210 pounds, but there's not a better running back in this class that makes second-level defenders miss, and he's a guy that I think can do it all. I think he needs work in pass protection, but out of the backfield, in space, there's not many running backs who are better than Eric Gray. Probably going to be a top 3 running back on my big board, getting him at round 5, and again, that allows you to free up some money. David Montgomery is an awesome running back. I don't know if you're going to pay him, though. I don't know if it's worth paying a guy like David Montgomery when you can drag. You're really happy with Khalil Herbert and how he's looked, and then you add another running back in a really, really deep 2023 NFL draft class. I think that makes the most amount of sense. Derek Parrish, I really do like Derek Parrish. Pick 150, probably going with upside. I think you could add another wide receiver to this class. There's some bigger wide receivers. And again, if you don't want to go out and retain Chase Claypool, maybe go out and get another bigger wide receiver. Dontavian Wicks, I really like from Virginia. Xavier Hutchinson. None of those guys really standing out. Maybe the tight end class. This is a team that wants to run with tight ends. Not really a tight end that's standing out to me either. I think you could double up at linebacker too if there's a linebacker you're necessarily like, or a cornerback class. This is a cornerback class that's really good. Julius Brents, we're probably going to go with him. Both Julius Brents and Darius Rush had phenomenal Senior Bowls. And for Bears fans, you don't think you need a cornerback early, but there are some really – this is probably the deepest cornerback class. And if you'd asked me what position group is the best in this class, I think it's the cornerback class. There will probably be 6 guys who are going to be at top 30 dudes on my big board. Even in round 5, though, some phenomenal cornerbacks. And I get you're pretty comfortable with what you have, but around 5, just go get some talent. Julius Brents is a guy who's 6'3", has long arms, and is very physical at the line of scrimmage. He's a guy that I think, given some more time and development, could be a very, very good boundary cornerback. We'll go get him out at Kansas State. We still have 3 more picks to go, 178, 199, and 220. Trey Dean on the board, Kenny McIntosh on the board. We're going to get Ali Gay. Again, Ali Gay is too much of an upside as a pass rusher to be falling to, round 5, round 6. He's a guy who's 6'5", 34-inch arms. He struggles in the run game, and that's a problem. But in terms of getting him on the field in 3rd and longs and telling him, hey, don't worry about the run game. Just go use your quickness off the line of scrimmage and your long arms to get after the quarterback. That's where he thrives. He was also a guy down at the Senior Bowl and really thrived in those obvious pass rush situations, those drills where it's like it's you versus the tackle and the quarterback's going to be dropping back in the pocket. Go win. That's where he's his best. And again, he's not a guy that's going to be a 3-down dude, but he's a guy who could be a pass rush specialist. And I think the upside of Ali Gay is worth taking kind of late round 5, early round 6. Pick 199. Now you're just kind of going best player available, taking a look at this board. Some guys stand out. I think you could maybe take an upside at a wide receiver with some upside. Bryce Ford Wheaton's a guy that I like. Justin Shorter's a guy that I like. Justin Shorter, we'll probably go with Justin Shorter. He's a guy that struggled with injuries. He struggled with drops, but he's a former 5-star prospect who started his career at Penn State, transferred over to Florida, and was a guy that I think really could have broken out, but not great quarterback play. As good as Emory Jones was as a college quarterback, not necessarily the best distributor of balls, and you could say the same thing about Anthony Richardson. If you had Justin Shorter on an offense that had a better quarterback and a more consistent quarterback, I think he could have been really special. And again, 6'4", 215 pounds, some serious deep ball threat. I think again, late in the NFL draft, take guys with high upside. Justin Shorter is a dude with high upside. 220, Warren McClendon on the board I really like. Let's take a look at this offensive tackle class. See if you can get just a depth guy at offensive tackle. Wanya Morris I really like. I do like Warren McClendon a lot as well. And then take a look at linebacker. Because, again, when you take a guy round 7, you want him to make the team. What guys make the team and are dudes that stick around? Guys who can play special teams. Servosia Dennis, Carlton Marshall, 2 guys I really like. And the last position I want to take a look at is that safety spot. Daniel Scott had a phenomenal Senior Bowl. Ben Van Sumeren. Oh, let's go get Jeremy Banks. He's a guy that and then you talk about upside. Jeremy Banks was a highly touted guy out of high school too. Extremely good length, a little bit undersized, struggles taking on blocks, but flies around the football field. We're going to go get Jeremy Banks at 222, round out this draft. Interested to see where PFF grades out our draft. This was a very good draft for the Chicago Bears. Again, best case scenario for the Bears, you trade down to the 4 with the Colts and you get a guy like Jalen Carter who's going to be an A-plus pick. If the PFF doesn't give Jalen Carter an A-plus pick, they give it a solid A, I think they're out of their minds. Felix Anudike-Uzomah, probably my second favorite prospect taken. This is a really good draft. This is one of the best grades I've gotten from PFF as well. They don't love the Justin Shorter pick. I'm much higher on Justin Shorter than a lot of other people. But again, I think this is a really good job of taking the best player available at the position in need. Again, the Chicago Bears have the ability to acquire so much draft capital in this class. I'm very interested to see what Ryan Poles decides to do. But again, getting what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 player 2023 NFL draft class would be massive for the Chicago Bears. I think a success for the Chicago Bears. Again, more importantly, Bears fans, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. We appreciate the support you guys have shown. Appreciate you checking us out. And again, if you do enjoy the content, join the community, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.